Welcome to Tanked Up, episode 202. I'm Ben. I'm here with Aadil.
Hello.
And Lucy.
Hello.
Hello to the both of you. Lucy, how are you doing?
Good. Surprisingly.
Good. Aadil,
All
how about
things
you?
considered.
Not too shabby, you know. I went abroad, was in an airports, and still don't seem to have a car. So I'm probably a vector for ruining Bristol.
No one go near Aadil's house. It's strange that I've been nowhere, and I do have a cough, which may or may not show itself at some point this evening. But I can already feel my throat getting a little bit hoarse. We should probably open some beers, shouldn't we?
That'll help.
Lucy, what are you going to drink first? Or what are you drinking? What have you got this evening? Did you find something in your stash?
I actually went out and... because
you braved the streets.
Yes, I did. It's for beer.
Yeah.
Because that's what I need in my bunker when all the water's contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
Nourishment. I'm going to start with a beer from Unbarred. And
Nice.
it's called Tropic Soda. It's a passion fruit, pineapple, and mango puree New England style beer. Has it got any flavour text? I'll just read you what it's got in it. Malts, pale ale, flaked oats, flaked wheat, dextrin, melanoidin, yeast, New England, hops, citra, azaka, mosaic, Simcoe. Adjuncts are mango, pineapple, passion fruit, and lactose.
Nice.
Yeah, ingredients. Yeah, it says
Packed full
mango,
stuff.
pineapple, passion fruit. So maybe it's not all. Yeah, not all of it is puree. I believe it may just be. Well, it says passion fruit, pineapple, and mango puree.
Right.
Or is it passion fruit, pineapple, and just puree
And mango.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell. Maybe we needed another comma in there or something.
I
But
was going to say, there's scope ambiguity.
Ooh.
I'll see how it goes.
Nice. What percentage was that? Missed it.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I said it's 5.8. Yeah,
Nice.
it's a nice can. Nice pink underneath with nice green, tropical green leaves on it. So pretty. Very nice.
Good.
The soda part of the name put me off.
Okay.
But just that it says just New England style, so maybe that's just their name. Because the last beer I had that had soda in the name, I think was the Northern Monk. I think it had pigs in the name of it, but it was like a grapefruit.
Oh, yeah.
Grape soda beer, and I found that quite nice.
One of the patrons project beers, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember.
Not a fan.
Good. Aadil,
Yes.
what have you got to drink this evening?
I have the Choco Blocka Mocha Stout.
Ooh. That's a good can.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
can.
really good.
It's from Williams Brothers Brewing in Alloa, Scotland. It's 4.8%. It is a chocolate stout. And this Mayan-inspired brew is a Maca lover's delight. A blend of coffees from around the world combined with cacao nibs to deliver an intense stout for the ages. And I assume they mean for all time and not that this is an all-ages beer.
Yes, I would imagine so.
I mean, this is how you get
3 years
this
old.
is how
Good
you get
beer
in
for
trouble with the Portman.
I don't think they're reading descriptions. They're just looking at cans and going, don't know. Looks like it's for kids.
I would drink this when I was 12. To be fair, when I was 12, I would drink most beer cans because, you know, you gotta try these things out.
It was a very different time when we were young.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was
It was
20 odd years ago.
Yeah. Was firm up. Yes, exactly. I think the first beer I'm going to crack is from Odyssey, called Don't Cross the Line. It's an IPA, 6%. I was thinking I might only have one beer tonight, but I'm feeling better than I was this morning. So
Good.
I think I'm gonna have two. This is the lower percentage of the two that I've got in front of me. What does it have on it? Not very much. I always forget Odyssey don't put a huge amount on their cans. They do say, drink fresh. That means store cold at all times and drink as soon as possible. Serving temperature 8 to 10 degrees and to maximise hop aroma and flavour. Does tell you the allergens. Pour carefully to leave sediment in can. Canned on January this year. Freshest before April this year. Best before June of this year. Odyssey have always... I don't think they're ever going to get in trouble with their slightly macabre can art. But this is someone facing sort of death.
Oh, yeah. As we all are.
As it definitely feels like we all are. Yeah, absolutely. Whoa! Oh, a little bit fizzy. It should be okay. Should be alright. Let's get it moved out of the way. And we'll come back to you, Lucy. How is the soda? The tropic soda.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that I was hesitant about. I mean, Unbarred, some of the beers we've had recently from them that we've had in Tesco have not been of the quality that we'd probably prefer, let's say. And the soda and the puree, it was like, what's this going to taste like? And at first, the first thing I noticed when I took a sip was there's definitely lactose in there. You can, I mean, looking at it, it looks like it should just be. I mean, it's like straw coloured, like really like straw coloured. Very. It's got a bit of haze, but it's mostly clear. It's just like, oh, what's this going to taste like? So, but yeah, the lactose you can definitely tell because, you know, it's still got quite a thin texture and mouthfeel to it, but that lactose still gives it a bit more body to it, which is nice. Because I was just thinking, oh dear, this might be very thin, and with the amount of hops that they've thrown into it, it's like, are those going to come through? But they absolutely do, and you're getting a lot of fruit. Not overwhelming sweetness, which I would have thought with the lactose and the puree, like that artificial sweetness that just sometimes comes through in beers that use puree rather than like natural fruits, understandably, and that have lactose, like trying to, you know, build up those flavors. But this doesn't do that at all. It tastes very natural without being very natural. So that's a relief. But
yeah, I think people are getting better at using puree in their beers and allowing them to feel and taste a little bit more natural. We are losing a little bit more of that kind of artificial nature that you kind of or that we found maybe a couple of years ago or so, or even a year ago with kind of purees in beers. And it's an easy way to get a lot of fruit flavour, isn't it, into a beer?
And you're definitely getting those fruits as well. You know, the mango especially, some of that pineapple, which is quite hard to, you know, separate in most beers. Like, let's say, oh, we've got pineapple in this. It's quite a subtle flavour when it's put in beer. But yeah, it's all those fruit flavours are really coming out. This would be like a perfect, even though it's like 5.8%, it's like a perfect session beer because it's thin enough and light enough just to, you know, chug down, really. And this is a perfect summertime beer.
Nice.
It's really nice. I can see why they call it soda now, because it's like,
alright,
gives you that feeling of just like, I want to be refreshed, it's hot, let me drink this and get, you know, enough fruit and flavour in it. Really surprised, really pleased with that.
Nice, good. Aadil, how about you?
I mean,
looks like a porter.
Yeah. It's dark.
Can we call him Sam Porter Bridges now? Because every time I'm on here, it's always a Porter.
Oh dear.
Oh, Sam, how's the beer?
The nose is a little sweet. I'm not actually getting a lot of the coffee. I was expecting. I'm getting a bit of a maltiness, but it's quite light in the nose. Even at 4.6%, it gets that velvetyness that I lamented the lack of on the last week's porter. That's. I was a little worried that it would be in-your-face coffee. But actually, I think the cacao nibs that are in here are according to the ingredients, 0.1%, as are the coffees. So I think they're helping balance it out to not just be this sort of coffee force. So you get a bit more of that chocolatey taste to round it out. It's dark, rich, and chocolatey, as the can says. I would actually say it's less chocolatey than I would have thought. I feel like the coffee that's in here is pushing back against it just being like a chocolatey porter. So it's really well balanced in that sense. But with the claim of coffees from around the world, I was sort of expecting a little more depth.
Sure.
And this sort of just tastes chocolatey and coffee in a good balance, and then it all sort of fades a little. There's a light sweetness at the end that I'm not sure what that is. See, or at least they're melding well, because again, I could smell them a little on the nose. You could smell the maltiness, but there just isn't much of a maltiness. Yeah, that lingering sweetness at the end is interesting. It makes the finish longer, so I don't have to reach for another one if I wasn't trying to tweeze apart the taste. Yeah, I guess it's like, I want to say the chocolatiness is kind of like a sort of generic milk chocolate without the milk, so it doesn't it just doesn't have that strong dark chocolatiness. And again, I think it's there balancing against the coffee, so you just get this really, again, slightly like velvety texture, and you get a hint of sweet and some chocolatey and a coffee, and then it ends with this light sweetness that I'm not sure. To be honest, I think why I keep talking about that is it sort of feels out of place with everything else. So it got this richness, and then it ends kind of light sweet, kind of almost as if you sprinkled like granulated sugar on right after you sipped. So like once the liquid came, you just had this spike of generic sweet. But yeah, it's good. It's satisfying, and excuse me, burping on here. I'm classy. I was gonna shove it off, and then I realized people had seen me burping on YouTube, so I might as well just say excuse me like a polite person instead of like a knave. It is the beer I wanted, given the not too cold, but just like grummy. That's not even a word. Grimy, crummy. And I am knocking it out of the park. It's almost like I haven't talked to anyone today.
I like the word grummy. That is a very good word.
Grimy and crummy. It's a grummy day with these big downpours and then nothing, and just kind of meh. And this is kind of what you want while you look outside and be like, yes, the world is shit, but I'm inside. That type of nice, strong, nice taste. Yeah, it's good. How about you, Ben?
Nice. I'm really enjoying this. What was it called? Don't Cross the Line, I think. Yeah, Don't Cross the Line. Instantly, on the nose, I got it from the can. It came out quite big, but it's faded quite nicely, really. Big hop sort of nose when it came out, and balances out a little bit more fruity in the nose sort of now as I'm kind of supping from the glass. I don't know whether that's because I've had a few sips of it as well, so it's kind of already on the palate. But it's pretty light in colour. Maybe showing a little more yellow on the camera than it actually is. But almost no head, and it poured with a reasonable head, but just dissipated really quickly.
It's also not clear at all.
No, it's not. And
it's quite bright, like bright yellow for a very unclear beer.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's a little more orange. Me staring at it, I don't know why the camera has kind of balanced it a little bit more yellow, but yeah, it's really not even hazy. It's just a solid block of almost of orange for me. But I'm getting a nice balance of different flavours going on. There's a little bit of fruit in there, maybe a little bit of citrus, some orange maybe. It feels like it's got a little bit of a little bit of zest to it. Maybe there's some sort of like some orange peel or something in there as well. Getting this bit of zest, but then it's followed up by this quite sort of pithy bitterness to it as well. So it is almost like I've bitten into an orange, but not as not quite as strong as that. You know, that is pulled back a little bit, and it allows maybe a little bit more of a hoppy, piney note to be in there with it as well. So it's not quite that sort of sharp, zestiness. It's pared back a little bit to be a bit more maybe pithy, a little bit more piney, leading into that bitterness. But it works it through quite well, and it doesn't stick around too long. So as soon as you sip it, you get those fruits. They hit the back of the mouth really quickly, and then suddenly you're hit with that sort of slightly zesty note, which just moves into that bitterness really quickly. And then everything all kind of sits together and stays around for a little while. It's quite wet. It's very, very thin, mouthfeel wise, considering it is a single block of colour. I imagine it to be just a solid rather than a liquid by looking at it. But it works very well, and because it's so wet, that flavour just still there. It lingers quite nicely, and it's one of those where, when I've had a few beers which edge towards that like more orangey sort of spectrum, and they don't quite pull it off. It can feel kind of like a little bit more like weak orange juice or weak orange squash more than anything. This doesn't. This sort of maintains its flavours whilst still being quite light. You, Lucy, saying how your beer kind of feels refreshing. It feels like a summer beer. This one does as well. This one feels nowhere near 6%. Like you could very easily go and have a couple of these at lunchtime and not even think about it. But yeah, it's doing quite a lot. But making me
Odyssey.
It is taking me on an Odyssey, absolutely. But I can't cross the line. It's the only caveat. So yeah. I mean, it's gonna disappear really quickly.
Yeah.
So we should probably. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say I'm trying to not drink mine too quickly as well. I think the fact that there's lactose in it just means it coats your mouth for a bit longer. It's like, okay, I'm satiated for now, but yeah, it's very light and easy. And it's got that nice bitterness and pininess at the end to balance things out. So just want to drink it. Oh, chug it.
Well, we there's a lot of beer goings on in the last week. There's a lot of gaming news that's kind of come out in the last week. I might want to touch on a couple of bits at the end of the episode, but we're going to talk about what we've been playing, because I know, Lucy, you have played more games in the last week than anyone has ever played in their life, I think.
Yes, well, more than Aadil certainly has in the last 6 years. So.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'll start with a game that's the latest release, which is called Hidden Through Time.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. And it is... Are we allowed to call Where's Wally games a genre now? Even though there's only been a handful. This is basically... Find the thing game. I mean, there's a lot of hidden object games. I guess, yeah, you're right, Aadil. But this is very much more in the vein of Where's Wally, where you're getting like a single screen and you're having to find objects. And it's like a little animated Where's Wally but come to life. The best example I can give is Hidden Folks, which came out in
I remember that
2017. Yeah, I love that game. It's so charming and whimsical and special, and this is very much it's very much inspired by it. I mean, it's called Hidden Through Time, Hidden Folks, so it's very much I don't know if you. I just say it's inspired very much by Hidden Folks. So, I mean, the most distinct thing about Hidden Folks is probably its black and white art style, whereas this is much more colourful. It's made by Crazy Monkey Studios, who made Gunscore and Cannoli 1 and 2, and there's a very colourful and well animated like side-scrolling action in like 1920s prohibition, where he's playing as an Italian zombie, so it's very good. So completely, diverging from that, where it's very relaxed, kid-friendly, let's say, experience, and it is pretty much just a animated Where's Wally game, but that's just so up my alley. And I zoomed through it within 2 days. It's like I could have just done it in one sitting. I wanted to, but it's like, let me savor this like the fine wine that it is. But yeah, it's more colourful. It's actually got colour, unlike Hidden Folks. It's got a nice, animated art style. It kind of looks like Scribblenauts kind of stick people. And because it's called Hidden Through Time, you're basically going through different time periods. So you start in caveman times, and you go to Egyptian times, Middle Ages, and then Western times. And it's probably about maybe 20 levels, so maybe about 5 in each time period. So even though I got through it quite quickly, where I think it'll have its longevity is in the online like multiplayer aspect, where you can make your own levels. There's a level editor.
Okay,
it's quite
nice.
Yeah, it's quite intuitive. It's like I went on the tutorial. I mean, I have no creativity, so I'm probably not making any levels. But it's like for someone, for a layman, it's like very easy to get into. It's not dreams levels of layered tutorials. It's you're given a grid and you're given preset models, and you can dot them around the place. Write little clues as to where your hidden objects are, and just upload it online, and you can download other people's levels or just play them online. So it's got that offline capability. And yeah, I mean, I saw like a Age of Empires inspired map, and I was tinkering around with that, and it's so yeah, I think that's where the game will have its legs, rather than like added DLC from the developer. Although I should ask them if they do plan on doing DLC, because it'd be cool, like doing other time periods. Like, there's 4 time periods now, but as we all know, like the good old history of the Earth has been distinguished by many different time periods. So maybe they do one in the 70s or the 60s or something.
Yeah, but also different time period, the same time period, different places of the world are quite different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that would be good if they added DLC. But if not, hopefully this will get like a big enough online community where people keep uploading levels. But yeah, it's really charming, really good.
Even just like an asset pack or something for a different time period for people to be able to make those kinds of levels.
True.
So the developers don't need to get into that so much, let alone just using that art style to make some assets for people to use themselves. I was going to ask, I've got a code for this, and I was kind of thinking, do I give it a play? But actually, having a look at the game and things, I think this might be kind of the perfect game to crack out on a rainy afternoon when me and Evelyn haven't got anything else to do.
Yeah.
And we can sit there and she can sort of play the game, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, her, she's 3, so I don't have one of those kind of kiddies PlayStation 4 control pads, so the pad is a little bit too big for her to kind of really use well. But how easy would it be for her to kind of just be able to watch the screen and say, "Oh, there it is," or that kind of thing? Yeah.
I was going to suggest it for you to play it with her, because you could read out the clues, and because the clues are like they're smart. It's like, okay, the hidden object is like a shield, and it says, "Oh, this makes a perfect resting place for this amphibian." It's like, what's an amphibian? A frog. Where's a frog going to be? In the pond. And yeah, I think it's like a really good teaching tool for like kids in that
Nice.
sense, even contextual puzzles and clues and
Cool.
stuff like that. So yeah, this is a perfect game for kids, and yeah, I think you get a massive kick out of it, and her eyesight's probably better than all of ours put together. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, definitely suggest it for like kids
Cool.
and stuff like that, or just grown ass kids like me who still enjoy Where's Wally puzzles. They're just, you know, good for the
I-
soul.
Yeah, I always liked the Where's Wally style puzzle versus the spot the difference ones, even though they're kind of doing the same thing. I think
Well-
maybe just because you end up staring at the same, almost the same picture the whole for
Yeah.
a long time, versus like I'm looking through all the details and appreciating the details of this picture while looking for one.
Yeah, and everything's just not haphazardly thrown onto the screen. Like, the thing with Hidden Folks is I find Hidden Folks was harder because it was a lot more dense, and you have to like click on more things. Even though a lot of stuff's animated in this game, sometimes in Hidden Folks you had to like click on certain things in order and stuff like that to get the actual
Oh,
thing. But whereas this, it's just like it's
things
even
are
though
moving.
it's moving on, like moving elements to puzzles. Whereas this is like, no, it's there, you can see it right there.
Yeah.
The most you have to do is like click on the building to look inside the interior and stuff like that. So
that's just like
and it-
navigation kind of.
yeah, so it's a lot more manageable for like a younger audience, and
Nice.
yeah, it's really good. So I'm glad you got a code for it,
Mm.
and I'm glad you can share that with your child.
Yeah.
Turn it into a Where's Wally convert. And then I can buy her all the books.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hours of fun, mate.
Yeah. And I'll come over and I'll just end up saying, no, there's a key. There's a scroll before she can even do it.
There's the wizard.
And then she'll be like, why is this person in my house?
Yeah,
They're ruining my fun."
Lucy just wants to come over and win.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
Yeah,
it's a
that's-
very competitive game, is what you're saying.
It is. What's it?
Who can do it the
Ranked Where's Wally.
fastest? How many of the extra things can you find? Who can complete the book quickest?
Whilst we're talking about multiplayer,
Hmm.
I might talk about another game.
Yeah.
Just as equally as colourful, and it's called Ibb and Obb. IBB
Ibb.
and Obb. I think it first started as a, I think, graduation student project, all the way back in, I think, 2008, if I'm not getting that wrong. It came out on originally 2013 on PS3 and PC. It's a multiplayer only game.
Okay.
So I never owned one DualShock 3, so I remember seeing the game, but I was just like, oh, I'm not going to play this on PlayStation and PC. It's not exactly the friendliest of online platforms.
Right.
For couch co-op especially. But it came to the ultimate couch co-op platform, the Nintendo Switch, a few weeks ago. So
Not the N-Gage.
no, not the N-Gage.
That's not couch co-op. That's like commuter co-op. Or
On the bus co-op, yeah. Yeah.
That's, you should not be leaving your house with an N-Gage. So that's not multiplayer. But anyway, yeah, it came to Nintendo Switch a few weeks ago, and it's essentially a platforming game where two little guys, Ibb and Obb, they can like it's basically gravitational puzzles. So there's one, usually you can both walk on the same plane, but there's usually one walking on the top and one walking on the bottom, and then all these puzzles. I think there's 15 levels altogether.
I have seen
And
this.
yeah, and the levels start getting quite long and quite complex, and they start adding layers and layers on top of each other, like the ability to float through bubbles, the ability to like jump on there's like a if you jump on a certain point and it'll like springboard the other player on the other plane of existence, and it's just like it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot. So make sure you get a either couch co-op partner or someone online who has a lot of patience to play, basically, because it will test that. But yeah, it's really fun. It's fun trying to figure out these puzzles, which get really difficult at some points. So this is a game maybe I wouldn't suggest to play if you're 3-year-old. But yeah, it gets quite complex, and some of the platforming does require a little bit more skill. So best to have someone who is used to platforming play with you. But what I really find special about this game in particular, more so than the couch co-op, is the online co-op. You can play either with an online friend, and how easy that is to do with a Nintendo Switch, by the way, but I just played with a randomer, and they were very patient with me. I was the one, they were carrying me, I was the one holding everything back because those puzzles were hard. But what I find really intuitive is the fact that you can write messages to the other player. You can just write on the screen. I don't know how this would work with if you're playing on the I wonder if the gyroscope in the Switch could help you type out words when you're using a screen. I don't know. But anyway, I did it in handheld mode, and I just drew on the screen. It was like, oh, hi, and directing them. It's like question mark, what do I do? And it's a really nice look to it. It's sort of like a hazy, like kind of like in dreams, like if you draw something and imagine that disappearing like after a few seconds, and it's got this really nice tactile feel. And I got matched in with someone immediately, and they were very nice, very drawing me hearts and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is probably the nicest multiplayer experience I've ever had in my life.
It's odd, isn't it? Because some of those experiences come in the most random of places. I remember playing the co-op element of Portal 2, where you're the two robots moving through doing puzzles with one person, and we did it in like one sitting, which maybe was several hours, but we just played and played and played and played. We didn't say a word to each other. I don't even remember whether there was kind of any communication, sort of even emotes and stuff like that in that game, but we just, I don't know, just managed to find the right person to play with. And as you say, especially when you get to that point where you're maybe a little bit hesitant about what to do, or you're not quite sure, and actually they don't leave the game.
No,
they actually wait for you.
No,
like, this person's rubbish.
Because I was rubbish.
And fucking solve a puzzle.
Because I had no idea what I was doing most of the time, and they were like signaling for me what to do. And I'm like, it wasn't their directions that were like hard to pass. It was the fact that I just had no clue, and I'm dumb as hell. But they were like really patient, and it's like, there are nice people somewhere. But yeah, it matched me in straight away. It was really quick, so I'm hoping that game it still has, only a couple of weeks after, still has quite a few people playing online. So but we all want to play these kinds of games, couch co-op. So that's probably the ideal way to play it. But yeah, it's really good. Really enjoy it.
Nice.
Even though it took me 7 years to get there, I'm glad I finally played it.
So, in the review roundup, I'll just say that because it's been out on Steam for ages, the main complaint is along the lines of the later puzzles are just too specific. Like, you need to be really precise in the platforming.
I agree with
maybe
that.
they change that, but like a bunch of people, I mean, it's like thousands of positive reviews and a couple hundred negative, but almost all the negative ones basically say, hey, you need like frame perfect platforming to work.
Agreed. It does get tough. That's why it's like a game of two halves. Like the first half a dozen levels are like fine, you can play that with a player who's not very skilled in platforming, but yeah, towards the second half, it's like I was struggling like to make some of those jumps, and I if I don't say so myself, I'm pretty decent at platformers, so yeah.
Yeah, so Coolio123 says, game just flat out sucks. It's far too hard, with literal tenths of a second meaning the difference between success and failure on later puzzles. It feels so incredibly unrewarding. No matter what the price, this game isn't worth it.
I don't know if there's any timing puzzles later. I don't know if that's what he or she means, but
I think they just mean having to do the right thing with
right. Okay. I could see that being a problem later on.
They played 8 hours, so
yeah, I could see that probably being a problem because it was ramping up to the point where it is a slow-paced game at first, but there are towards the end of the few levels that I played with that other person online, I definitely saw things where it's like, okay, this enemy's bouncing towards you, and it's like, yeah, you need like precision platforming here. Fortunately, if one of you dies, both of you die, and you both get reset to the last checkpoint. The
which
checkpoint
is one of the things
seemed
people complain about.
okay. Checkpointing, because it seemed generous to me.
So one really long one basically says, they found it. This is Lamia. I found that they made it all too easy to unintentionally grief your teammate through no fault of your own. Why do you die every time your idiot ally dies?
Yeah.
Why is it that for a co-op I never feel like I'm working together with my teammate? Why am I always getting in the way of my teammate and griefing them?
I never felt I was getting in the way of the other person, but if one of you die, yeah, you both die. So it's like, but I think the checkpointing would alleviate that. But as I say, it is a game of two halves. It's like half of this game is like relatively fine, and then it's like, then it becomes the Dark Souls of co-op games. So I appreciate what it's trying. Maybe it should have had a through line. Maybe it's like, this is going to be hard, or this is going to be just manageable enough. So I can see why people would be surprised and angry at like a switch in the difficulty spike. So I get that. Yeah,
or maybe just like actually making it 2 separate campaigns or 2 separate sections, so people have an idea that
this is New Game Plus.
Yeah. I have to say though, Studious has probably the kindest negative review I've ever read, because they're never nice. They're either long-winded or whatever. He just says, please consult your doctor before taking Ibb Obb. Side effects may include puzzle-like confusion and a strong urge to play other games. Nah, just kidding. It's okay. We just didn't have the chops for this one. It's pretty tough.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Like, I was frustrated, but yeah, I'm just kind of not good enough. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can appreciate the game's merits without like loving it. You know? So,
I never mark reviews on Steam as helpful, and I click yes on that.
Yeah, I think
I clicked was this review helpful? No, today on a review for, because I saw that Piku Niku, the like kind of Mr. Men platforming game, came out on Xbox Game Pass today.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just on the app, and I was like, oh, I'll download that because I've already played it. But it was like, yeah, I might mess around in it again. And I saw the reviews, and I was like, they were like, oh, the achievements are just not great, and this is the developer didn't even try to make this look realistic or something like that. And there was another one that said, this is a kid's game.
Yeah,
so I marked both of those down. It's not helpful.
I have to say, I had to look it up, but something someone posted was, this is their negative review, the whole basis. Despite the first character in the game asking for you to send them a postcard being available for purchase, and mailboxes being present, you can't send the ghost a postcard. Negative review.
It was the one that said this is a kid's game, so it's like, so a kid's game can't be a good game. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
did you not play games as a kid? Yeah. To hell with him. It's a kid's game. Nobody needs it.
Should Should we move
Yeah,
on to? Should we move on to a game that rolls in quite nicely to a game I think all of us have spent some time in which I'm pretty sure I can definitely say I'm not good enough to play this game.
No, neither am I. And I'm not good enough to play this game, and I think it made me motion sick for some weird
Oh, really?
reason. Yeah, I was feeling motion sick.
Oh, I hope we're talking
And I
about the
don't
same
know
game.
why. Yes, we are. That's why it's
The latest
bizarre.
PS Plus game, Sonic Forces, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about a game called Filament, which comes from. I went to have a quick look. The developer is called Beard Envy, which is a very good name for a developer.
amazing.
Published by Case and it's not released yet. We all got codes to preview it. It's a puzzle game, essentially, but presented in a quite nice kind of story-based kind of top-down overview of a bloke having to wander through a space station.
Yeah.
And solve puzzles, and these puzzles are all based around the idea of drawing a line around certain nodes.
I have to push you on drawing a line.
Okay.
It's definitely a thread or a filament because there is physics to when it will straighten out independently.
Yes.
Yeah.
While if you're drawing a line, it would sort of stay.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see. Yes.
Whether
So
it's
you're a little
taut
robot,
or
and
slack line,
you've got like a tether.
Like a rope or something.
That infinitely extends, and you are trying to open a door, usually in a room, and that involves having the tether touch white pillars, such that all the white pillars in the room are at least on one side. They're usually squares, sometimes they're circles, but they light up when they're touched the right way, and when they're all lit up, a door opens, and of course you can't cross the path of the tether because it's in your way. So you're literally threading the path through the level such that you hit all the points and can get to the door.
I was going to say, we all light up when we're all touched the right way.
Oh no!
Carry on.
It's true, absolutely. But it's a game that I think started you off, eased me in really well, and then just dropped me in the deep end.
Yeah, it's one of those
hey.
where it's like, you get the concept. It's like, it's not hard to figure out.
And the first, that first room, basically, the first couple sets, are like, okay, draw the path. Oh, look, now you, instead of going in a circle because you'll get trapped, you go in a zigzag. And, like, some of these square pillars will have, like, bricks on them so that you, not all four sides are exposed. So, the tether has to, like, touch one of the two sides that are exposed, but also it tells you that the bits that are tacked on will push the rope out enough that it'll change the angle of tension, which is sort of how to solve the next set of puzzles, is to realize that, oh right, if I just swung in this way, it would just draw this straight line, but because there's an extra bit of brick, it'll do it at an angle, and then there's like pillars or parts of walls that aren't the magic white material, so they're just anchor points so that you can keep the tether out of your way for the next loop or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how far either of you got into it, but it also ramps it up quite a lot and brings in new elements as well. So it brings in like negative cubes. So if you touch those, your tether goes black, and you then can't light up anything. So you're not allowed to touch those elements. There's also some color puzzles that come into it a little bit later on as well.
I didn't get that far, but
I
got partway through the negative ones, and I was like, okay, I screamed through a bunch of these levels. I can't see it. I need a break.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the good thing is that it's not a list of levels, so you can come out of that bit and you can go to another sort of station and try some different puzzles.
So I tried that, but maybe I just didn't click right because a couple of stations weren't lit up and it wouldn't let me enter them.
Yeah, so there are some that, so if you do the 5 puzzles on this station, that will then light up a cable that takes you to the next one. And obviously you can't do those until you've done those. But in different rooms, there are other stations that you can just go to start these puzzles.
I explored a little and played around with some of the other rooms, but I guess it's sort of this weird thing where I kind of like the openness and the option, but like if you follow the exit signs, there's like cylindrical pillars that are rotating around, and it seemed like you needed to get them to stop once the tether touches them. They stop moving.
Yep.
And it seemed like, okay, well, there's 4 arrows. Maybe I just need to line them up, and then that didn't do anything. I'm like, I don't know what to do in this room. This is the first room I found that was otherwise, and I'm like, it didn't seem to give enough information for jumping the queue. But also, it was kind of this weird tension of, you're giving me access to this whole map, but it seems like you really want me to do this linearly. And you've got this weird plot of trying to save a stranded woman who's guiding you through these anchor points, and she doesn't talk to you when you go to these rooms. Like, you don't get... It's like the game tells you, look, there's going to be someone to help you out to figure out things you don't know. That seems to be the setup. And then you wander away because it lets you, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
I find that was like the one frustrating part of giving me access to these other rooms, me not quite knowing what the win state is, but also there not being any sort of notion of like the game just doesn't do its plot unless you are doing the linear part.
Yeah, and it's currently still in an unfinished state as well. It's in pre-release, so there's going to be, I assume, a certain amount. It does tell me in the email that they sent over that there are a few parts. So there is no end. You cannot get to the end at the moment. So I encountered that puzzle as well, where you had the
Don't
spin,
worry,
the
I
four
wouldn't
spin
anyway,
thing.
because I'm too stupid.
Well, and I only discovered that puzzle because I went for a walk, because I'm like, no, can't do these. I'll have an explore, go and have a wander around.
So I'm the exact opposite. I hit this is the next place to go, and then I went for a walk. I didn't even try the next puzzle. I'm like, what else can I do? And I think that might be why I was a little frustrated. I'm like, I found a thing. I don't know what to do. I lit up all the things, and I like the visual cues in the room suggest this is what I'm supposed to do. There's no other guidance. And then after that, I just kind of didn't look around for other rooms because I was just like,
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, but you were saying.
Yeah. So yeah, it does, as we said, we've all encountered sort of like the negative cubes. It does throw in some coloured stuff as well. So you have to hit an orange cube and then hit another orange cube, and that will turn your line back to white again, and then you can leave. Right. There might be an orange cube and then an orange pillar, and you have to hit the orange cube, the orange pillar, and then another orange cube, and then get your line back. So it starts to throw a lot of different kind of variables into there as well to kind of keep you thinking. But I think the base set, especially with the negative ones, I really bashed my head against the wall on a few of those. And then as soon as I did it, I'm like, oh my, it seems so simple now. How did I not, figure this out 5 minutes ago, type of thing.
Yeah, the puzzles are really good, and the game, it's solid, and I really like the look of it, like a kind of like muted shades and stuff like that. So I think it's got a good overall presentation, and
absolutely,
I like the fact that you can. I like the fact that you can rewind, like almost reel back in the in the line, and or just reset altogether. But yeah, my motion sickness kicked in. I don't know why.
Do you think it was the...
I thought it might have been the rewind at first, but then it was just the overall gameplay. So
wow,
I don't know. My brain's dying every day.
And was that because there's quite a contrast between like the colourful space station that you're wandering around, and then the muted tones of the puzzles themselves.
Yeah.
And did you find it in both sections that you were feeling?
I think it was just the puzzles. I don't know what it was.
I don't know how the camera works. It doesn't seem like
it's not isometric. You can tilt it to get a bird's eye view, which is nice. See the overall puzzle, but it is got kind of tilted look to it.
It's kind of almost like 2.5D, isn't it? It's not sort of proper isometric, but it's kind of side on. It's a tilted side on sort of view, isn't it?
It might have been the refresh rate. I'll dig into the options next time I get back to it. But this is very much a game that I needed the walkthrough for. So wait till that's
and of course, it's not out yet, so whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game that. So this type of puzzle game, I find that once at least for me, if I bash my head against a puzzle 3 or 4 times in a row, I need to just stop the game or switch to a different set of puzzles. And I guess that's kind of why I was disappointed that I couldn't. Yes, I get that. I guess more flexibility would be nice. Where yes, to understand how to do the color, I might. You're trying to teach me through negative, possibly, or I get the progression, but sometimes another angle and same problem works just better. So being able to hit that color puzzle, being oh, now I see how these things connect. Next time I hit a negative puzzle, I might have a better idea, possibly. But it felt much more like a brick wall. Although I'm glad you've told me that there are other rooms beside the big exit room that I could play around in. It just sort of. I guess that's one of the things with the level design, because it's you're trying to release all these anchors to free this lady, and you're not sure what that means really, but that's the clue. And you immediately leave, and there's a yellow cable that goes to a box that looks like the thing you just solved, and it's lit up, and it leads to another one that isn't, and you can't start the one that isn't. So it felt like it was telling me it was a linear progression.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see that it's an easy sort of path laid out in front of you to follow. And to think that is how you have to do it. I think when you explore a little bit more and you start to do all of the puzzles in one of these stations, you pick up little cards as well, which show you basically a little grid and then a path around a grid, almost like a maze. And there is some, I don't know, it's like a little box in a couple of rooms just on the side, and they have this sort of almost secondary puzzle to them. So you're presented with a screen, and you trace the path shown on one of these sort of tickets that you've picked up. You trace the path, and that unlocks a load of logs and diary entries from the people that were on the space station.
Okay.
And I thought it was so giving you a lot of exposition, providing you with a little bit more story and backstory to the space station itself, the people that were on there, but without kind of forcing that on you. You could just run through this and it be just basically just a puzzle game. You follow the path, you do the puzzles, you don't explore anymore. It's just giving a little bit extra on top, and I thought that was cool. I read through a few of them and I'm like, oh, it's interesting just to see kind of what's actually happened here. Who are all these people? Because I got to a puzzle and the woman that you were helping, she started to mention other people. I'm like, oh, okay. Where are these other people? What is actually happening? Because at first it seems like she's the only person there, and whether that is whether she has only been the only person there or not. But you discover that there's used to be a crew and all of these sorts of things. So actually,
so maybe I just didn't explore enough.
Well, it brings in elements that I enjoyed from some of the games like last year, from observation and things, where I wanted to know more about what was going on a space station again, but I wanted to know more of what was going on with the crew and delve into kind of the backstory about maybe why they're not there anymore. Stuff like Tacoma, where you want to understand the relationship between these characters. You're seeing a scene about them kind of happen, oh, but who is this person to that person? You're trying to unravel that story. This provides that as well. It gives you the means to be able to delve into that without forcing you to sort of delve into it. Just allowing you to either enjoy a puzzle game or giving you just that extra sort of level of depth to it as well.
Right.
And I think I didn't. I don't know. I kind of didn't know what to expect kind of going into the game, but I was really pleasantly surprised with just the level of kind of polish as well that the game has. As we've said, the art style is really nice, the voice acting is really good. I think is there one music track? I kind of had this one looping sort of
to be honest,
very chilled kind of music sound in my head.
Yeah.
But with puzzle games like these where I'm just stuck, sometimes you might need to personally, I might need to like mute the soundtrack, because it's like if that's looping over and over, then I will go insane.
Oh, see, I was just saying I can't remember much about the music.
No,
When Puzzle
well,
Brain was on, I just
no.
stopped paying attention.
Yeah. But yeah, as you say, Ben, the overall package and the presentation is not what I expected. I thought it'd just be like level by level, like puzzle game. But yeah, it's nice that they've put some decoration around the puzzles. So that's nice.
And I actually, following on that, I'm glad to hear that there is more to the plot, because obviously I played a little bit of it, and I get, it's a small developer, small game, so like tripping audio codecs or whatever in random rooms you go in to like seems like extra polish you don't need, but like the fact that you can seek out this stuff and maybe it'll do things. So that seems like a good balance from what I thought, which was kind of like, oh, you're giving me this open like world, but it seems pretty static, and so it's just me wandering about until I go back to the same place. So I'm looking forward to trying it again, because I mean, the few times where those sort of around the negative ones and the ones right before that, it was like the right level of try a couple times and be like, okay, I think this is what it is, doing it wrong, crossing the streams, but then immediately being like, right, now that I get this part of the puzzle, I know how to rethread the first part of the puzzle. So
yes,
and then it was just one level I was like, I don't know. And then it was just sort of even through like random trial and error, I'm like, I kind of get how maybe two of these string together, but that might be completely wrong. I might need to go laterally instead.
That's why I need a walkthrough, because it is just like it's a puzzle game distilled down to like the most basic, where everything's on screen. This is what you've got.
Yeah, it's perfect information.
Those are the elements. Yeah, exactly. Go figure it out. And sometimes your brain just cannot do that.
Yeah, but it is the
absolutely.
biggest, like, what was that game?
Baba is you.
No,
this is this year's Baba is you.
Kami?
Kami, the folding
the
origami paper one,
There are just a few levels I could never. Still, I've gone back. I'm like, nope. I've done harder parts of this game. Yeah. This is like level 3 on the third letter, and I'm like, still don't know how the fuck to do this with it. I don't understand.
Sometimes puzzle games just do that. Where it's like, I will never figure this out till the day I die.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I like games like Kami, where you kind of unlock, so you can kind of float between different levels, and so long as you're mildly successful, it'll work. And I guess one of the things that I didn't like was, again, it's like, well, you do these in batches of 5.
Yes, yeah.
Or 4, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like,
so I got stuck on like the 4th puzzle of one.
Yeah, and then you're like, cool, I guess this game is dead to me until I figure this out. The most frustrating thing when you're enjoying it and you want to do more of these things, but this particular instance is never going to happen.
Do you think there was like, multiple like solutions to like some puzzles, or is it just you think it was just that one?
I don't know, but I felt like there was. So when I'd achieved a puzzle, and I'm like, I've been bashing my head. I said, oh, that's it, and I got it. I'm like, is there another way I could have done this? It seems like there should be.
I think
but occasionally, occasionally the way that where your column is set up, and you've kind of got blocks on either side. Yeah. You can only hit this point, so actually you have to originate from up here or down here. You have to come to that one in one of those ways. There's no other way of kind of approaching that.
Yeah.
It does seem like some of them are a set path as such.
Yeah, because it felt like that at the start, and then further on it was like, no, this seems like a very specific.
Yeah, I think that the earlier ones are just because there's just
it's teaching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Good.
I want to know what the robot is doing. I still don't know. Like, you're removing anchors, but I don't get how. Like, you've sent a little robot to where?
You're gonna release the xenomorph onto Earth.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing with the plot and everything I found odd, because it's like, you're now doing the puzzle, and there was no, like, They made a point of saying this removes anchors, and all of them removed will free the girl, but that's it.
No, it's freeing that xenomorph that's in that cage.
But like, I don't know. It was just sort of like there's so much wrapping, but no point did it tell you what this activity is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you get into that through the story a little bit.
But it feels like from the perspective of the player, they would have to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think you're
that's a minor
philosophizing. Yeah.
Right, let's open some more beers. I'm ready for my next one. Lucy, we'll come to you first. What have you got?
I've got a beer from North Brewing Co.
Ooh.
Who have just been doing stellar things lately.
Yes.
I mean, churning a lot of beers out, but they're all
Not
good.
stellar things. Not stellar artois
not
things.
stellar artois.
Hey.
Thank God. But this is
Artois.
called Tunnels of LA. It's a 7% West Coast IPA. It's got Amarillo and Simcoe in it. And that's pretty much it. Yep, it's stark.
Ooh.
Very nice, but very stark.
Yes.
Art
I
and
really like
stark
that.
information. Yeah, their can art's really good, North. Really good. Yeah, that's it really.
Cool. Aadil,
West
what have you
Coast,
got?
I have, surprising Lucy. I have the 5 Points Brewing Stout Porter. It's not just a stout.
Oh, really?
Stout Porter. Ooh.
Stout
Ooh.
Porter is our tribute to London's illustrious brewing history. It's richer and more robust than our classic railway porter and bursting with roast coffee and dark chocolate flavors. It is 6.2%, a bigger, bolder London porter. So it is a porter done with some stout overtones.
Okay. Nice. And in a bottle as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely.
It's been a while since I had a bottle.
Yeah. I haven't had one for a long time. I've got one sat downstairs, maybe ready for next week, but it is an imperial stout. Didn't quite fancy that one tonight.
Yeah, I've got a bottle of Colonel. It's in the
Ooh,
apocalypse.
lovely.
That's all I need.
Nice. I'm drinking a collaboration. This is kind of like the annual Wylam Yeastie Boys collaboration. This is WXY5, and it's a Southern Hemisphere IPA. Very, very simple can design.
Yeah.
And it says, the hops are Nelson Sauvin T90 and Galaxy T90. Also contains as allergens barley, gluten, and wheat. That is about it. It is 7%.
Ooh.
But that's all the information I got. So yeah.
2 7%ers. And a porter, as always.
Yes.
Yeah, mine's got a... doesn't have the nicest of aromas. It's got like a soapy coriander smell to it.
Oh really?
Like lemony.
It looks very clear. Maybe not quite actually.
Clear.
Maybe it's just the colour looking quite.
Yeah, it looks
Like
like,
it
my
should
last
be
beer,
almost.
to be honest. Yeah, not a yellowish beer. Not lightish straw, but yeah, it looks quite. You can see that it's like thin and like it's very much looking like my last beer. Just a bit of haze, but you can see slightly through it. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your finger when you're holding it up. It's no brick of color like Ben's last.
Yeah. It's got a bit of body to it though.
Oh yeah.
I'd still say it's medium bodied. I mean, it's 7% beer. It's not light or thin at all. Even though it looks it. It's really soft. Really soft. Just easy drinking. It's very bitter. I think some people would maybe think it's got like a soapy taste to it. I am getting that slightly, but I don't know if that's because it's just very, very bitter. I very much like that. It's like really heavy bitterness.
Does that bitterness kick off from the start, or does it roll into it?
No, it's pretty much from the start, and it's lingering as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're not really getting much fruit like at all. It's like very soft, and it's just like, oh no, here comes the bitterness. Like mid taste, and then all the way through to the end. I mean, I like my bitterness, but for someone who doesn't and probably wants something a bit more fruity, this is probably not the beer to go to. I mean, it's been sitting around for a while, so it's probably at the best temperature that I can have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I mean, it's not as well balanced as the last beer in terms of like getting a nice bit of bitterness at the end, but you're still getting that fruit at the start. Most of what I can taste is just that bit. It's like, oh, I'm drinking something soft, but I can't really tell what kind of soft drink it is. It doesn't taste like orange juice or pineapple juice or like a soft cherry or something like that. It's just like, oh, yes, I'm drinking something that's nice and palatable and, has a nice mouthfeel, but then it's just like, oh, bitterness, I can't even taste. It's like whatever I was tasting before, I don't even know what that is, because bitterness is just completely taken over. I mean, if I said, Ben, Aadil, give me a beer that's just bitter, I don't care what it is, just I want a bit of beer, and you gave me this, I'd be like, yeah, cool. But I don't know if it's I don't know if it's something that I'd want to have. If it was like, I want a nice beer, I want a good West Coast IPA. That's
just to one note.
Yeah. So a note that I like. If you don't like bitterness, then I'd probably say stay away. But I think coming off the back of the Unbarred, this does seem very one note. But
yeah,
I'll give it some thought. See if I warm up to that bitterness. See if
see if other things can maybe come out.
Yeah, get over the get over the initial of just being slapped in the face by bitterness. Yeah, we'll see. TBA.
Cool. Aadil, we'll come to you. Your second
lighter on the
dark
nose.
beer of the evening.
Yeah, it's way lighter on the nose. Almost a little soap. Like it smells like a porter, but not very light. And there's a bit of a weird soapy something. Not sure what that is. Anyway,
My beer was so bitter that it made its way down to Bristol. Now you're being affected.
As soon as you crack the can, it just went.
yeah.
And every beer that had been opened in that moment was
Look,
affected.
do not make jokes about things transmitting over through. We're gonna have to mark this as health explicit. So this is doing more things. It's okay. The 6.2% gives it. I mean, you can see the head is much more coaty. It's just more viscous for the beer, which means it clings to the tongue a little more, which is what I like for these sort of strong, robust coffee chocolate flavors. I like when the thing actually hugs my tongue, so I can really, I'm stuck with them for a bit.
Yeah.
It's a little. You can tell it's a porter rather than a stout from the other one. A little more roasted in its flavors, but and it dries the mouth out a little, which is kind of unfortunate because I like everything about this taste. I kind of want to just hold on to it. It's coupled with the roastedness and the coffee type flavor. It's just got this taste is like much more like a coffee beer. There's slight sort of sweeter notes. It finishes a little sweet, not as sweet as the last one. It finishes dry though, which I don't quite like. Just because I can still, on the top of my mouth, still have that coffee aftertaste.
Yeah.
If it didn't dry my tongue out, I would love this like 30 to 45 seconds of just like, but actually my tongue and my throat feel like maybe I'll take another sip. And that's sort of fighting in against why I think this is really like a nice. The strength of the beer is that it has this nice strong taste of grass.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd want a dry porter. Yeah.
Yeah, to be
When
clear,
you've got that very
Yeah.
bitter coffee in your...
like it's not a dry taste. It's just that the mouthfeel is dry once everything's gone. Yeah,
Okay.
like your tongue feels kind of immediately parched once the main part of the taste curve is gone. So your mouth is like, oh yeah, coffee. This is nice, and your tongue's like, yep. So yeah, it's more robust, but actually, it's mostly this coffee stuff. It's not sort of balanced. It's like a roasted coffee, couple notes that are just there. They're really good. They're really nice. They linger, but it's sort of that taste throughout, which I really like. But it's actually oddly made me appreciate the balance of the last beer a little more. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say about this. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
fair.
strong. I get why it's a stouty porter, because it's giving you those stouts, but it's got that body of a porter. And yeah, I just wish the finish was a little wetter.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I don't know whether your beer did explode and emanate things, but I'm getting a little of a it's not quite a soapy taste, but it's kind of somewhere around that I don't know, somewhere around that kind of area, and I don't know whether it's maybe the citrus in this beer that's making me think a bit more about, you know, like washing up liquid, soap, you know,
Right.
detergent type of thing, combined with you know, that bitterness as well. Where the last beer, the Don't Cross the Line, was almost as if I was kind of like biting into an orange. This gives me a lot more kind of pineapple. And I've never bit into a pineapple before with the skin on and full pineapple. So I've got no idea what that tastes like.
Live a little bit.
But
no one does
just try
that.
it.
Oh.
But this gives me pineapple, but it's also giving me this kind of bitterness right at the end, which has this.
Sorry.
Are you visualizing him biting into a pineapple?
Yeah, but not like on the side, just like from the top.
Oh, through the leaves?
Yeah.
Oh, it just spikes everywhere.
Like how in Sea of Thieves they eat the banana with like the skin on and they just smash it into their face and just then smashing the pineapple. Sorry.
I'm gonna use a word coined by Aadil this week, because I'm not really sure how to
Grummy.
describe this beer. It's grummy, mate. It's a grummy beer.
I mean, we've got to incorporate that into the episode.
I've got it written down just in case. It starts off with a bit of pineapple, and really quickly kicks into that bitterness, but that kind of pithy, piney, you know, element to it. But it leaves that pineapple, that fruit flavour, slightly soured, slightly stewed almost, and it's not the best combination to have, that slightly stewy pineapple flavour and this bitterness with it as well. Kind of those two flavours together aren't, not working for me. At least I will drink it. Absolutely, it's not it's not kind of like a beer that I would am averse to. I think that there's just maybe a little bit of a balance issue between the sort of the two elements that are trying to vie for dominance within this. And again, I don't know whether what hops was it. So Nelson Sauvin. So kind of expect. Excuse me. Whoa. Kind of expect that. Kind of expect that piney note and finish to it. But the galaxy in there as well. I don't know whether the two of them just aren't quite, gelling. Exactly. And again, I don't know any of the other kind of ingredients really that have gone into this. I'm not given sort of like a full malt bill. I don't know what the yeast was that's gone into this. But yeah, they seem to be trying to vie for dominance in this, and neither are quite getting on top of each other enough to have this sort of through line to it. It is just two flavours just smashing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've just had a look at North Brewing's website, and they're saying that there should be rich pine and orange marmalade and floral flavour that you're getting from this beer, but prior to all that, they did say Tunnels of LA has a sharp bitterness, which we've raised a little higher from our latest West Coast brew. So I think they've raised that bitterness bar maybe a little too high. So I feel like I've been assaulted by bitterness.
Well, it is Tunnels of LA. I'm pretty sure that probably happened to you if you went there.
Yeah, face full of smog. Yeah.
Instantly, they're just assaulted by noise, cacophony of stuff hammering your senses as soon as you get into LA.
I think I'm starting to get more used to it though. But yeah, off the bat, it was quite bitter. It's still got that bitter aftertaste right now. But it's as you say, Ben, it's like something that you're not averse to, but maybe not what you want from a balanced beer.
Yeah.
You want it all.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we do want it all, unfortunately. Right, let's move back into games. I know, Lucy, you may still have more games to talk about.
I do. Even bought my notepad just to remember what the hell they were. But I'll start off with a game called...
Wait, does Notepad.exe even exist anymore? Is that like a old school Windows?
No, it's got to exist. Surely.
It's got to exist. I think if I bring up my start menu, it's going to destroy...
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Wait, where else
You're
do you write code and HTML and all? Anyway.
The terminal. Oh, damn it. I'm on a shitty operating system again.
You need that penguin, mate.
Yeah. What are the two most... what's that saying? What are the two sure things in life?
Death and taxes.
Well done. That's the name of the game that I played. I played a game called Death and Taxes on Steam. And it is I'd call it something that's trying to be akin to Papers, Please.
Okay.
In the case of you're at a desk, you're playing as the Grim Reaper, and you're deciding who lives and dies. Basically, you've been created to be the Grim Reaper by fate. Fate's like, okay, we need somebody to sort through all this paperwork, who lives and who dies. And you're given these profiles on a daily basis. It's set over like 28 days, the story, of who's to live and who's to die. It gives you a short little excerpt of their lives, so it might say... So it'll say their name, their age, their profession, and just a short little summary of what they do or who they are and stuff like that. And basically, Fate gives you these parameters each day. So you need like 2 people out of 6 to say to kick the bucket, or they want people of this certain age or this people from this certain background to stay alive. And you, well, not quite stamp, use a pen, tick who lives, who dies, and you file that paperwork for the day, and you get appraisal by Fate every day, say how you've done, and at the end of the 28 days, it's basically you see what state the world is in after the 28 days. There are a lot of things to like about this game, but there are a lot of things that seem superfluous and like perfunctory. It's like you're not going to get the depth of like Papers, Please on a gameplay sort of level, or even like, oh, this is really making me think level. Because you're not under any time constraints or any constraints where it's like, yes, you're given the parameters by death, but you can like disobey those to pretty much not really any effect. I mean, if you keep doing things persistently wrong after 3 strikes, you will get fired.
Wait,
But it's like, it's easy enough to skirt the line of like, I'm not going to get fired, or I'll just, you know, not follow all the instructions here. Whereas Papers, Please, it was like, these things have consequences, even if they're not seen like the day after. They're seen long term. Like, oh, this started a terrorist attack 8 days later or something like that. So you're not going to get any of that depth there, and in terms of gameplay, it's not really. So if you're coming to it from like that kind of social gameplay aspect, you're going to be disappointed. What I find interesting about Death and Taxes is more, reflecting on myself, who would I prefer to die? A YouTuber or a drug smuggler? And the answer's YouTuber every single time. And it's like, that's where I got the fun out of this game.
Hi, YouTuber.
That's where I got the fun out of this game, reflecting on my own biases and like my own morals and what I think is right and wrong. Like, someone would be like, oh yeah, you kill the coal miner, you know, the person who's got this, you know, killing the planet or something like that. And some people are like, no, I'm going to kill the anti. It's like, no, Lucy, I'm going to kill the vegan. And it's like, it's just, it really, I just threw like other stuff out the window, because you can like, quote unquote, win the game and get the best outcome, but I played the game through a couple of times, and I think it's about 2 hours, a whole gameplay walkthrough. But when I realised that it's like the parameters for getting like fate on your side and maybe not condemn the whole world are very the things you have to do, it's like, it's not fun, and it's like it's not very tangible, and it's not clear cut. It's like, oh, I have to do specific thing on this day, or specifically on this day, and it became like strategy game. I don't. That's not where the game's strengths lie. I think where the fun lies in, on your first playthrough, unbeknownst to all the what happens in the end and stuff like this, and just going through the profiles, seeing who you'd prefer to live and prefer to die. I think that's where the fun lies.
Yeah, strategy can very easily feel like a chore, just like something that you have to do, rather than the game kind of allowing you to, you know, do what you were doing, explore, skirt those edges, to, you know, have your decisions be a little bit questionable in that sort of sense. Suddenly, when you throw kind of a strategy element into that will change how you play completely, and might, and doesn't allow you to express what you want to, really. Yeah, and I mean, you can tell that it wasn't like trying to get across a social message or something like that. Because it's got like quite light-hearted writing, like quite, you know, ironic, funny, in your face writing, and you're doing all these things to like a jazz soundtrack, like upbeat soundtrack, and you can like you get paid every day if you do the right thing. Sometimes you don't get paid, and you just go see this pirate and like buy snow globes from him and stuff like that. So you know it's not going to be like, oh, Soviet trombones, glory to Aristos, kind of heaviness to it. So you're going in with that kind of mindset. But and I think the best part of the game is when you decide who lives and who dies. The next day, you're basically seeing like a news feed, and it's like,
the people who die, they just die in like the most ridiculous ways,
Right.
or the things that you thought, oh, I'm going to kill this person because it's a good thing to do. I'm going to kill this drug smuggler, and then you find out, oh, this drug smuggler was like, I don't know, working on a cure for cancer and stuff like that. And it's just,
Yeah, as drug smugglers are.
that may not be the the exact thing, but it's funny how things like how ironic fate can be and stuff like that. So I think that's the best part of the game. But yeah, that's Death and Taxes. I think there's a demo up there. And
Yeah. So, just on the reviews, wow. Von Luton says it does a great job of simulating a boring and repetitive office job. Every day you fill out the same paperwork, no new gameplay elements introduced, and after 2 hours you get to see how your paperwork affected everything. I think the reveal is mildly interesting, but itself the game is a slog.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change up the gameplay over those 28 days. And
But
if you are taking it at a slow pace, it can become, a bit
It sounds like it's
monotonous.
mostly about like the content of the writing rather than the gameplay.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd
I'd just say it's mildly amusing to reflect on yourself as well, to think.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to look at it.
Yeah.
Although Jay Swift also says, I own 500 plus games, and this quite possibly may be the most boring game of them all. Seriously.
Oh wow.
And
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, so a lot of the negative reviews seem to say it's boring or repetitive, and I think it's honestly probably people who just don't read and do the click-through thing, and this is not one of those games. What you're saying, a lot of it is contemplation and some of the ironic writing. Well, if you're just like trying to do the gameplay loop,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's just kind of unsurprising that these negative reviews are people who are just like, I tried to do a thing and I got bored. Well,
Because games can be funny outside themselves. Because I was laughing at the fact that I'd kill a vegan over any other murderer or kidnapper.
I think that's fair, right?
And I was like, and I just became like nihilistic at the end. I was like, just kill them all. Fate's gonna damn us all, and either save them all or kill them all. Or, yeah, and that's the game. Yeah, Death and Taxes.
Nice.
I have one more game, but if anyone else,
Ooh, well. Who? Aadil. How you doing, dude?
I'm
I was
fine.
thinking, has he played any one game?
Have you?
I played a game.
I saw. I might have seen a screenshot that you
Yeah.
sent over to us.
We've talked about it briefly
yeah.
last week, but I hadn't played it yet. I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, cool. Even though
Talk about it now.
Yeah, okay.
No,
I
I'll just
played-
glaze over right now, but I'd love to hear your thoughts whilst
I
I
played
speak.
the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo on my
How long is that
PlayStation. Like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the PlayStation 4 non-pro, but it does have HDR elements that the regular PlayStation 4 can have. My screen that I'm staring at now has HDR 10 or whatever it is, and fuck, it's one of the prettiest things I've seen. But I think the problem with sitting at computer distance to 40 TV is like the boy does hair look pixely in places. The hair is notoriously really hard to animate, and I think if I was sitting at like on the couch, I wouldn't have noticed it. But I was like, well, that's disappointing. Also, Barrett's chest hair looks more painted on than textured than actual hair, and that's a weird thing when you choose to have him having a shirt that has chest hair, and then you just don't make it. I don't know. It was just that was like the only time in the graphics where I was like, that's weird. This looks so to place because everything has got such fine, like it's so well designed. Like I pay attention to all these details. There's movement and things that you might not think there needed to be, and then it's just like someone took a Sharpie to Barrett's chest. I really liked it. It made me stoked, but also I think I have a worry that the whole thing is going to be longer than it needs to be. So like this was 45 minutes. It was the Midgar mission, and as a demo, it worked really well because you need to sort of, if I don't know the story, I want to know, like, what if Jessie's a real character? Then her like pseudo flirtatious interactions with Cloud. If you've never done this before, you're like, oh,
she's hot for Cloud.
Yeah.
Oh, they're already flirting in the demo. God damn.
Oh yeah. Oh no, but they're already flirting in like OG FF7 demo. Like it's the first like 5 lines of the movie.
Yeah.
The game.
That's how you get the gamers on.
Yeah.
Gamers with capital G and Z.
Spoiler alert: Jessie's not a real character in the rest of the game. But I felt like a lot. Like I liked the progression through the power plant, making it a little longer, having a few more enemies, making it feel like more of a big thing. But a lot of the plot and cutscenes in the middle felt kind of like filler dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, yes, if you're breaking into a place, you're going to have your hacker hack a door. And then another door will happen to be hacked. But, like, have those spots where there's a lot of dialogue that kind of goes nowhere and is mostly either just filler or Barrett saying, I don't know if I trust you 17 times. You're like, look, I know part of it is I know this story, and I've heard I've seen the short version of this, but like, if what you're doing is just, if that's what you're adding, as well as the longer maps and the cool new gameplay, then I'm a little worried that we need, like, we're gonna have episodes 7 of these because you're just
stretching it out.
Yeah, it
Is this final code? Like, is this not a vertical slice, or is this final code? This will be
not final code.
Like, this will be part of the game, or is it just like a?
No, it will be part of the game. This is the openings of the game.
Act of the game, essentially.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, to the point where it ends with like a montage of what you know is coming if you've played FF7. Right. Like basically a montage of cutscenes of the interactions.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were just like, oh, let's throw everything that you can be expecting from the full game into this thing, and that's why it seems a bit overstuffed, or if it's...
Yeah, no, I think because FF7 was well designed in the beginning to get you used to, because they also did a new battle system in that game. They made it so that you played by yourself, and then they added party members. And it works, that's much more important in this game, because it's not just active time, it's like full on, it's a little action RPG. And I was annoyed at myself for needing to use 4 or 5 potions on the big boss.
I think I used about 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, no. Okay, well I feel less bad then.
Filthy casuals.
Yeah, right. Jeez. But it's just, yeah. I guess I liked the battle system. I liked the switch between things, try and balance. I'm sure with 3 party members. I don't know if it will scale to 4. OG is 3, right? Yes.
Yeah, it is 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, you don't.
No, you don't tag people in. It's
just
just those. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. I like the graphics. I'd like to. It seemed like positional play might matter, but it was mostly like jumping between characters based on how quick they were getting certain skills and using those. And maybe it's good that there's not positional play, because the AI for like Cloud, when you jump to Parrot, is sometimes like, why are you standing over there, all the way over there? Like, this isn't useful, and vice versa, right? Like, sometimes the long range guy just runs forward and then starts shooting, and you're like one of the worst, like the gripe, because of the lock-on system and stuff, it's not always clear how many enemies screens. There's one point where there was like, these guys are super dodgy, and you basically have to use magic on them to knock them down and then hit them. and it turns out there were a couple turrets that were just like, I'm like, why am I like, I'm dodging, I'm trying to do the thing. Is it just the fact that when I jump to the like jump between the two characters I have control over, that the AI is just garbage? When it turns out there were turrets that it just didn't see. They were just constantly shooting us.
Yeah, I remember that bit.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, and it was just because the camera didn't really show it, and because there were two guys right in front of me when I was being like switched to the next enemy, it was just bouncing between those two. I had no idea that there were 2 or 3 turrets, depending on where we were fighting, that could easily hit us, and that would have changed my like approach, because obviously they're one person's long range, they can attack the turrets. But also the AI never attacked the turrets. There was just like, there's 2 bad guys on the ground close to us, so we'll just shoot that guy. It's like, yeah. So like things like that made me. So it's like, I know this needs more polish, but like, this is the problem of.
How much more polish, isn't it out in like a month?
Yeah, but I mean, crunch. Come on, they'll remake the game times over. But yeah, so
Kingdom Hearts, isn't it?
You've got to wonder when this element was ready, I suppose, as well. You know, this may have been from a build a month ago, and they just got it. Yeah, they just got it ready to be able to do. Oh yeah, or a previous conference behind closed doors press sort of demo that people were able to play, maybe from last year or something like that.
And it's one of those things where that taught me the lesson of kind of having to take a moment in the fight to like scan around to make sure I'm not missing enemies that I don't immediately see. But they were like also shooting through parts of the environment at times. I think it wasn't clear, and it was like, well, I can't see them. So unless I look over in that corner where it looks like a wall and hit the lock-on button, I'm probably not going to target them. But other than that, I found it good. I liked the fact that they made so some of the like special skills can be done all the time. Like you basically have your ATB fills up, you can do like braver or like they gave you more things to do other than just attack and spell.
Yep.
Because wasn't the first limit break braver?
Yes.
Yeah, and now you jump all the way to like cross slash as the big as your actual limit break. Sorry, Lucy.
You lot just said a whole lot of words.
The one thing I was surprised at is how slow the limit break took to build.
Yeah, it was very slow.
Like on that boss battle, I got to clouds, but not Barretts. Just didn't get to do Barretts.
Yeah, I think I was the same actually.
I was like, he was like not even 2/3. It was just like.
And I think maybe that's when we spoke about this last week, I kind of questioned the speed at which their gauges filled. I'm not sure whether it was time based or damage based. You know, it fills up quicker the amount of damage that you're getting, or like possession based. So I was Cloud for a lot of the boss battle, and my abilities bars were filling up quite quickly. But that's
terrible because Barrett's the one with the lightning bolt spell, and that's the one that does damage to robots.
Yes, but you can. So when on Cloud, you can press R2.
Oh yeah, and
it lets you make Barrett do abilities. But if it is about possession and filling up those bars, then I should have been Barrett because that would have filled up quicker.
Yeah.
And then I could have done it more often. So there's a lot of stuff in there which kind of isn't
clear,
very kind of self-explanatory, or may not just be, it might not be fleshed out as much at the moment either. Or whether Barrett is just a slower character. You know, we get to Tifa and she fills up fucking super quick, and she can just, and you know, she hits a couple of times, and then she can do an ability, and she hits a couple of times, she can do an ability, and it's based on just the character rather than possession, damage, time type of thing. So
I do. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to learn. I have to say that I was in like JRPG mode, so I kept not trying to dodge as much as I should, or just having the situational awareness. Like at one point there was the first time you get a dog enemy, I just cornered the dog and started thrashing on it. And the dog was doing nothing to me, but then I was getting shot in the back, and I was like, So I actually think I really like the combat system overall. It's like I said, the targeting the camera that was less good.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about that? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious how summons will work. I'm kind of sad that they didn't show that because it's such an important part of FF7. Also, like, I'm assuming materia works kind of the same, but they didn't really come out. Like, you have one spell and your sword has a green dot and a missing slot, and the Barret has one green dot, etc.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed a secret. I tried to explore as much as I could, but like, I was hoping to like get a materia drop from one of the chests or something, so I could like add it, figure it. But yeah, overall, I'm impressed. Like I said, I've got some worry about how long they're stretching it out. Minor worries about the gameplay, which you could probably get used to. But I think there's enough in that this new system that I'm quite interested in how the battles will go, which is nice because up till now it's kind of like I kind of see one of my favorite gaming stories in pretty, and now it's like I kind of want to play this as well. So overall, it did what it needed to do, but I've got some reservations.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Natural to have.
Yeah, and
Especially
I feel
with Square Enix.
I think you mean Squeenix?
Yes. Squeenix.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. So let's. I was going to say let's finish there, but Lucy, I know you've got another game to talk about.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it within sort of like 30 seconds, or is it sort of does it need a bigger conversation?
It doesn't really need a bigger conversation because it's House Flipper, which is a very
maybe it does need a
relaxing
bigger
game.
conversation.
Does it?
Let's get into the architectural detail of flipping houses.
Flipping houses. Yeah, I can speak about it next week if needed. But yeah, it's just a very relaxing game. It's a very, I wouldn't call it rudimentary, but it kind of is. It's a rudimentary game where just flipping houses. You can either go into the story mode, which I have finished, and you are just doing menial tasks for people. People email you. The emails are pretty good. That written well. It does seem like real human beings. There's one like creepy old man who's like, "Thanks, sweetheart, for doing this," and stuff. Anyway, and you're just cleaning windows, hoovering. Cockroaches, you can change that. Change a setting where it's like broken glass instead of cockroaches if you've got a fear of cockroaches, and thought that was pretty nice. And just knocking down walls, painting walls, installing furniture and appliances, and it is just simply...
We definitely needed a bigger conversation about this.
Yes, I think we'll talk about it next week. But I'll leave it as it's such a chilled out game.
Good. That's
yeah,
nice.
We'll speak about it next week. I played it on Xbox, which is actually pretty good. But yeah, we'll speak about it next week.
I'm glad they can take a highly stressful job and make it chilled out. That's cool. That's good. I may need this just to offset my fucking existence.
Well,
I mean, no, you cannot play this game because that is just ruining your hobby. Right? I'm saying, do not play this game.
Oh dear. No, I should probably stay. So let's finish there. We'll go to discuss House Flipper more in depth next week. Let's talk about the beers that we drank. Lucy, you've had two beers, one from Unbarred and one from North.
Yeah.
I think I know which you preferred, but let's get into it.
Yeah, the North Tunnels of LA was, as we said before, very one note. Even as I grew to get used to the bitterness, it is still very bitter. As I say, I like bitter beers, but I like bitterness when it really comes on the end of something that's a bit more flavour forward and, you know, balances out, like a nice bit of fruit or something like that, or in the case of a stout, you know, chocolatey coffee or something like that. This was just very much in your face bitterness. It's fine, but not exactly what I wanted tonight. What I did want tonight was to chug that tropical soda from Unbarred, because yeah, it pleasantly surprised me. I don't know if I was expecting the worst, but yeah, when you see puree and soda for me, I was thinking, oh, what's it going to be like? But yeah, it was really well balanced. A lot of fruit, a lot of tropical fruit at the start. It's just still balanced by that piney bitterness at the end. That bit of lactose giving it some body. Refreshing, hoppy. It's everything you want from a good beer. So that's certainly my winner today.
Nice,
Excellent.
good, good. I'm glad the one that you were kind of a little bit more hesitant about has surprised you.
Yeah. But North Brews, go get their beers. They're so good. Just run out and
they are.
Yes.
take them off the shelves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, pay for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, that's
ideally,
true. Yeah, definitely.
I
pay
mean,
for them,
in
yeah.
the apocalypse, nobody's paying for anything. So.
I mean,
Especially to
here at Tanked Up, we aren't recommending stealing things.
No
We
looting.
don't.
No
We-
looting.
yeah, no looting or ransacking.
The only looting
No
you can
pillaging.
do is in a looter shooter.
Don't do that either.
I almost started the Division 2 this week, and then I remembered in Zombie Army 4.
It's all over floors. It looks cool.
There's too many games, mate. There's so many games.
So many.
Yeah.
You've had 2 beers this evening. Which did you prefer?
The stouty one?
The second one.
No, that was the.
I'm actually
porter.
I am on a fence.
I think you preferred the first one. I think you had more glowing
the
things
fence is,
today.
yeah, the balance on the Choco Blanco Maca Stout is just better. It's
Got
just,
a better name as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5-point stout porter seem on paper is what you would think I would like, but it just was, kind of a little more one note than I was hoping. And honestly, if it wasn't that drying thing in my mouth, I would probably be more okay with more intense coffee, a little roasted. That's about it, because of the lingering, and I like that. But that was completely fought off by, well, now my mouth is dried out, so I couldn't actually enjoy that lingering. So all I could pay attention to was that it was kind of more one note, not balanced. And my biggest complaint about the Choco Blanco Maca Stout is that it was both Choco and Maca, and they worked really well together. And I was hoping for one or the other to be stronger, but actually it's a 4.6% stout that did coffee and chocolate well, and I think I was just hoping for a more in-your-face taste, because that was what I was in the mood for. But everything it does well, and like I said, the chocolate and coffee balance really well in a way I haven't seen in a while. Like when I started looking for the chocolate and lost it, it was because of the coffee and vice versa. I would have this one again, I guess, is the key. It's just, now that I know what it is, it wouldn't be my stout to finish the night, but on a Grummy day, it could be the stout I start the night with. Yeah.
Good.
And you then? What are you thinking?
I am thinking, but I actually.
Do you like
I mean,
Mr. Tickle, the solid orange block, or do you like whatever the first one?
The other one,
the Odyssey that took you on a journey.
Mr. Bump. I think I prefer the Odyssey. The Wylam Yeastie Boys. It grew me a little bit, but it was still those two flavors kind of like battling each other the whole way through. They did ease off slightly, but they were still kind of going against each other. So whilst whilst my palate kind of adapted to them, and I got accustomed to the flavors going on with the Wylam Yeastie Boys collaboration, they were still against each other. They still didn't flow very well. I think the Odyssey, which was called Don't Cross the Line, was just a very, very easy IPA. It had a nice orangey, fruity flavour to it. It gave me a little bit of a kind of this zesty note to it. It had a nice bitterness, but everything worked through very well and flowed very well. And as I said, it was a little thinner than I would have expected a 6% IPA, but in a very good way, in a way that it wasn't too thin. It wasn't this is kind of just a little bit of like water and squash type of thing. It was no, I could have another one of these. I could drink this all day on a really nice, beautiful, sunny day. Not on a grummy day like today, but I could have started off, any drinking session with this and been happy with it really for the whole day.
Yeah.
And whilst it's not doing anything, groundbreaking, whilst it's not like huge flavours going on, it's just a very well balanced and well flowing beer that is easy, doesn't feel like 6%, and it's just a very, very pleasant flavour. So yeah, the Odyssey, I think, Don't Cross the Line is after kind of sitting there thinking, is it actually? It is definitely the beer for me this week. So if you, listener, want to talk to us about the beers you've been drinking, the games you've been playing, you can do so in lots of different ways. We are at Tanked Up Cast on Twitter and Tanked Up Cast on Instagram as well. I'm at Nova_47 on Twitter and on PSN. Lucy, you are at Juicy Loose 9.
Yeah, and I should be playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps in the next week.
When does that come out, tomorrow?
No, it's out. It was out. What day is it? Thursday. It was out yesterday. Yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
came out.
And I finally want to wrap up Mutazione, which I believe is free on the Epic Games Store today. It came out on Apple Arcade, but I might switch over to PC and play my first EGS game.
You might switch over.
Yeah, I might switch. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So look for that maybe.
Oh,
next
Short
week.
Hike is free on
Nice.
Epic Games Store right now.
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah. Play that.
Yeah.
I want full written reports next week from the both of you.
Yep. No,
Done.
That's fine with me.
Play
Also-
it. It's like 2 hours. Play it. It's fantastic.
But also,
If that's my
Anodyne
homework,
2
that's fine.
Turn to Dust, which everyone wanted to play.
What's that? Anodyne 2.
Yeah, I don't even know what that Anodyne was.
I know what the first one is, but the second one is like, I have no idea. Anyway, yeah.
Aadil,
Yeah.
if people want to tell you what Anodyne 2 is, or
Don't
talk to you
bother.
about anything
Yeah,
else, how do they do that?
I am at the Omniarch on all of the things. You can also email us at tankedupcast@gmail.com because we do respond. That's actually send us things. Ask us to play weird games. Look at my
I play all
Steam
the.
profile
I ask
and
you
tell
to
me-
every week to play weird games, and you ignore my requests.
But you don't send it in electronic means. You just tell me here.
Okay.
I've had a couple beers in me and I don't fucking remember.
We go to itch.io. We're always on itch.io playing
yeah.
those games. That
Send
hidden
you-
cat game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
play that.
there's
Did you play that? That was good.
I totally forgot I was going to play it, so I'll play it for next week. There's someone for the Mario anniversary came
Oh,
up
the
with,
Super 1 versus 1 chat. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
yeah, I downloaded it as well. It's a FPS
Yeah.
version of
Lovely. It looks like Lovely Planet
Yeah.
with Mario skins.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
also Stanley Parable and Watch Dogs are free on the Epic Store next week.
There's
Talking about a
two
dead-
very different games. One is
Yeah.
good and one is bad. So, yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and
really
they are
leaning
games.
into the barrel of old games there.
I own all these games. What game? Well, I don't own Anodyne. Well done.
I just
First
got
time
Anodyne
out.
too, so you know.
I'll
I-
download them. Why
I
not?
think I already
Yes.
bought Short Hike though. I didn't.
Ooh, there you go. Good.
You have it on
Good.
Humble Trove deal.
More than likely.
Yeah, right. You are right.
So, go to outoflives.net to see what everyone else is doing over there. Come and look at some of my dreams videos.
Well, they're very good. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I
Good.
need to watch more of them. I watched about 3 of them. Very bizarre.
I think there should be another one going up. Or wait,
One
it
went up
might actually be
yesterday.
up by the time. Yeah, there was one that went up yesterday.
Monsters.
On Wednesday, but there'll be another one up on the same day as this on Friday, probably in the morning, and this is up in the afternoon at some point, depending on how busy I am with work and stuff. But yeah, come along, let me know if you're playing Dreams, or if there's anything you want me to explore. I know, Lucy, you want me to try and find the giant bomb made level to explore.
Something
so
about
I'll
a
try and
shoe or
find
something like that. But yeah, I'm glad you're still getting mileage out of it. So
Absolutely. I mean, I'm jumping into it maybe not quite every day, but every other day.
That's still
at
a
the
lot,
moment to see
yeah.
sort of like to see the new stuff that's going on, and it's constant.
Good.
Constantly updated, constantly new stuff. The video I've got going up tomorrow definitely shifts my focus a little bit to some of the bigger experiences, some of the some of the
Not
better
just
made
Sonic
sort
porn.
of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what I want from Dreams now. Now I've experienced a couple of weeks of just stuff. I want more fleshed out experiences. I need 30 minutes of Sonic porn.
And
I need
when
a
you say-
storyline in there as well.
When you
I need-
say fleshed out, you mean
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs to use those rings in some kind of way.
Oh, Sonic and the Journey, the 9 cock rings, Ben, for that. So if you make that on Dreams, you can message him at Nova_47. Please don't message us at TankedUpCast. Only Ben wants this. But he wants it. He wants it.
That's it. I don't want it. I need it. That's what. Oh, let's finish there for another week. We've been tanked up. Bye bye.
Chaos Emeralds.
Dr. Robotnik.
These are clearly all search terms for either Dreams or Pornhub.
Yep. We all know you're just chasing tails.
Knuckles.
Oh man. Just know, Ben, not everyone's motto is "gotta go fast."
It's too easy. No wonder Sonic fans love it.
It is.
Oh my god.
Oh, with the motto "gotta go fast." Surely all Sonic porn is only about 30 seconds long, isn't it?
Yeah, right. I mean, they skip. They don't care about the intercourse. They care about the impreg.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just constant flashing images at you. Just 1 second.
God.
Oh dear.
That's an outro.
Yeah. I'm glad Sonic exists.
www.outoflives.net